What's going on, good people? Still here in Vegas, awaiting my shuttle to the airport, and a little bit of a, I guess, hour or two before my plane leaves. I'll be back in the studio doing it live, but we're here to break this news that Ceedee Lamb is expected to hold out a training camp if he doesn't receive a contract extension by the time it begins, per Calvin Watkins. This is not new information, but these things tend to change, right? They evolve, players hold in, they show up, there's movement in the contract negotiations. We haven't heard much at all. Jerry Jones has been sitting on his hands, absolutely doing nothing in terms of getting Dak Prescott extended, which needs to happen more than likely before we see a Ceedee Lamb contract extension. So really, it all comes down to the Dak Prescott situation before we can attack the Ceedee Lamb situation. It's pretty much an embarrassment. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, you're embarrassed right now of your owner. You're embarrassed of how this organization is attacking the future, not only the future, but the immediate now, in that this team is trying to win a Super Bowl. Not saying they're going to, not saying they can even win one playoff game, especially the way that they've handled the offseason. But as a Cowboy fan, you're expecting this team to try and win. Jerry's basically saying we don't believe in our quarterback. I mean, he might sign him. I think he probably does. But Jerry's basically saying we don't believe in our quarterback enough to sign him, or haven't yet signed him. So how can a fan expect this team to win? How can a fan expect that Jerry thinks this team can win? They don't bring in an elite running back and sign one of the Barkley, Jacobs, or Derrick Henry boys. And this was thought to be by many uh, the most explosive free agent running back pool we've ever seen. Um, and Jerry sits out, bringing in one of those guys. What's that tell you? Jerry's mentality, at least at that moment in time, was let's not spend money, and let's kind of see how this year plays out. Let's not put a lot of money into this thing and see if we can still win. And so to not bring in Henry, to not bring in Jacobs, to not bring in Eckler even, and don't tell me it's about money. It's not about money. It's not about money. I mean, it's about Jerry spending the money, but it's not about can they afford it. They could have afforded it. You could have figured this out. Dak Prescott, the extension opens up all kinds of money. He's getting paid $50+ million. You can sign an extension and make a very friendly 2024 deal, or the contract to be very 2024 friendly. Bring in Ceedee Lamb. You could have easily brought in Henry or Barkley. Henry waited by the phone, and Jerry didn't even call him. So absolute debacle. Not saying this thing can't get turned around. I do sense that Jerry will feel pressured to sign Dak to an extension, which will open up money for Lamb. You have to take care of this. You don't want to sign Dak. I don't get it, but I understand it. I don't get it. I don't agree with it. Dak is as good as you're going to get. Dak is a top 6 to 10 quarterback. This is not one of those situations where you have the luxury of going, let's go find a top 5 quarterback. Top 5 quarterbacks aren't available. You have to roll with what you got. The Detroit Lions have one of the best up-and-coming teams in the National Football League. They can't find a top 5 quarterback. There's not a top 5 quarterback sitting out there, moving, available. Like, you take Goff, you take what you can get. The Detroit Lions locked them up. Dak Prescott is as good as you're going to find as a Dallas Cowboy owner, fan, organization. And to not lock him up, you're sending a message. Now, that message can be clarified. They can extend Dak. I would say 60% chance is going to happen. Jerry will see the light. Jerry will understand what's going on. I even said that this potential lawsuit against Dak that just got completely dropped officially is maybe something that was having Jerry pause, but it's crazy. Um, what's this guy saying? Let's just, Sean, been telling you all off season, you dogging SF, but ignoring Dallas. LOL. LOL. What are you talking about, bro? No one in here, cool story, but no one in here even understands what you're saying. Dogging San Francisco, but ignoring Dallas. Does somebody in the chat want to let this guy know who's been talking about Dallas over and over and over. Sean, you don't know what you're talking about at all. And you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing Ayuk, haha. I told you Cowboys were going to need this. Dak is not. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself, bro. You're coming into a room where everyone watches me daily. They know I talk down the Dallas Cowboys daily, and you're embarrassing yourself. You're absolutely embarrassing yourself. Keep going. Keep acting like you know what's going on whatsoever. You're guy. This guy told you. I told you. Told me what? Your Ayuk. First of all, your Ayuk situation isn't even ironed out. What are you talking about? Your Ayuk situation is absolutely still in complete flux. And I talk down about all of these situations. You're embarrassing yourself. Yeah, yeah. Brian says Smitty gave the Dallas Cowboys multiple F uh, F grades in the draft in the offseason, constantly talking. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, now you're just gonna change the subject, right? Ben Ayuk all offseason. Yeah, because your team doesn't take care of business, Sean. I love Niner players. I'm supporting the Ayuk situation more than your Niner fan base is. Your Niner fan base is turning on Brandon Ayuk. Your Niner fan base is giving up on Brandon Ayuk. I predicted the Brandon Ayuk thing to a T the entire way, Sean. You're embarrassing yourself. The entire way. I predicted it to a T the entire way. The Debo Samuel blueprint. Sean, the Debo Samuel blueprint's in full effect. Some of these people, they come in here, they just assume they can say something. Sean says, told you about Dallas. You've been talking about the Niners. Then when he gets set in his place and he realizes he's kind of out of pocket and he's in over his head, he starts trying to change the subject. Ayuk, all you do is talk about Ayuk. That's because your coach won't do anything. Your coach won't do anything. Your GM won't do anything. You guys are sitting on your hands watching Ayuk's price tag go up. And you know what the typical Niner fan comment is? Oh, Ayuk's being a drama queen now. You could have signed him. He would have signed so many deals that you guys have already reached in terms of a level. He would have signed so many of them already, my guy. So many of them. But no, your coach sat on his hands and let the price tag go up, and Ayuk has been priced out completely. I swear, bro. Uh, yeah, did Debo sign or no? Yeah, he signed and had one of his worst seasons ever. Are you paying attention, Sean? Are you even paying attention? I don't think you're paying attention whatsoever. I really don't. I got to switch my pods real quick. Oh, all right. Can you guys hear me on the new pods? All right. This guy, man. Didn't Debo sign? Yeah, Debo signed because he held out all offseason, exactly like IU, and he had the worst season he's ever had. What are you talking about, Sean? You're just stepping all over your own stuff. Then move him. The fans don't mind. I know because your fan base has given up on him exactly as I predicted, Sean, to a T. I got a super chat. All right, enough of Sean. Sean's talking out of both ends, and he has no idea what he's talking about. Sorry, Sean, you don't. You don't, because the first thing you came in here and said was, Smitty, I told you about Dallas. I told you. You don't know what you're talking about, Sean. You haven't been here since March, because all I do is rip on the Chargers offseason, the Dallas Cowboys offseason, and your precious San Francisco 49ers, who I love the players, always talk up the players. Debo is a new man. I support Ayuk. I support Ayuk more than you do. You just proved that with your comment where you said trade him. The fans don't care because you gave up on him because you gave up on them and because your fan base is ridiculously against the players. Yeah, you really are. You act so loyal and then you jump off the ship. Sean, you haven't been here since March because your comment doesn't jive with anything of what this channel has been talking about at all. Who is worse at the offseason, San Francisco or Dallas? Dead even. Dead even. I'd almost give the edge to Dallas being the worst because they absolutely did nothing. And they haven't signed Dak. They haven't signed Lamb. They haven't signed Parsons. They didn't draft a running back. They didn't. bring in a running back. So it's mainly an F grade. At least the Niners brought in some talent. At least I love Pearsall. I love Estimate Garendo. So Sean, let me tell you a little secret. You don't have to be here. There's no roll call. Your title of half your videos is IU. You don't have to be here, Sean. No one's asking you to be here. If you don't like it here, this show bothers you so much, then don't come. No one needs you here to come in and just give your half measure comments that don't even have any truth to them. Okay, rock out. Who's worse? Oh, thank you, rock out. Appreciate you for dropping that super chat. Rock out to the mother freaking moon. Let's get back on track. Sean, I'm done with you. Okay, what do I think happens here? First of all, from a dynasty perspective, we need this Dak extension to happen. If we don't get a Dak extension, then Lamb's dynasty value is in flux. What do you expect? Ayuk is in the headlines. Exactly, Brian. I don't know what he's talking about. All you talk about is Ayuk. Well, then have your team do something about it. What a crazy. Sean getting mad because Smitty comes with reports and news. You know what I love is that would people rather not have a live stream? Like if there's breaking news on Brandon Ayuk, which every single one of my live streams, Sean doesn't understand this, but every single one of my IU live streams had a new piece of news, a brand new piece of news, absolutely new. Sean, should I just sit on my hands and not go live when new IU news happens? Let me tell you something, Sean. If some new IU news drops between now and when my plane takes off, I'm going live on an IU stream. How does that make you feel, Sean? Does that make you feel a little bit upset? Sean getting mad because somebody comes with the news. Thank you, Brian. Enough of Sean. He absolutely doesn't know what he's talking about. Coming in here ripping on me not talking about the Dallas Cowboys. It's like that guy the other night that said, Smitty, you liked Kenny Pickett. No, I didn't. I never liked Kenny Pickett. You come in spitting lies, you'll be not only will you be put in timeout, you'll be blocked from the channel. Because this is absolute ridiculous fake news. Unbelievable. Okay, let's go with the IU topic. All right, I'm sorry, the Lamb topic. Thank you, D-Town. Appreciate you. D-Town says, come on, boy. Okay, dynasty wise, if we don't get Lamb, if Dak doesn't get inked up, is Lamb any different than Justin Jefferson? Raise your hand if JJ would be the number one dynasty wide receiver if Kirk Cousins was brought back to Minnesota or they drafted Michael Penix Jr. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you guys would have JJ as the number one wide receiver. I just don't know what's going to be in store for Ceedee Lamb dynasty-wise, even redraft-wise next year if he does not have Dak Prescott. We only know Ceedee Lamb with Dak Prescott. We only knew Justin Jefferson with Kirk Cousins, even if J.J. McCarthy's better than I expect. And I know Sick Nasty's in here, and I always feel bad talking down J.J., and he loves J.J. Even if I'm wrong and he's better than expected, he's still not producing the volume that Cousins was producing, so everyone's got to eat. How much is he affected? Even if the Cowboys bring in a competent guy, let's say they bring in Russell Wilson. I don't know. It's like competent, not elite, but competent. What happens to CeeDee Lamb? If JJ dropped from the number one wide receiver down to the 6th or 7th overall player, how in the hell is Lamb going to stay afloat as a 1, 2, or a 3 wide receiver in fantasy football without Dak Prescott? The only thing he's known, an electric arsenal, a mega top 6 overall offense locked in every single year, Dallas Cowboys airing it out. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to Lamb? This is not good for Lamb. Again, I'm 60% sure, and that's not a take it to the bank number, that Jerry's going to figure it out. Wake up one day and say, you know what? I better sign him. If I don't sign him, we're going to be in trouble. I've got to do this. I've got to take care of it. I've got to do it now. I've got to do it live. But if he doesn't, or Dak says, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna bank on myself. And Dak seems very confident, as he should be. I'm gonna go ball out. I can see this happening. And they could extend Dak later. Dak could just change his mind later. But we're getting to a point where it's not just about the Cowboys anymore. It's not just about Jerry. If Jerry decides he wants to bring Dak back, we might be inching toward a situation where thank you, Rock Out, for the 2 super chats. Smitty doesn't make the news; he reports the news. Thank you, appreciate it. I don't fabricate the news; I report the news. As Rock Out says, we're getting to a point where some of that 40% doubt of Dak getting extended in Dallas is turning into like 50, maybe 60% doubt because he's going to start not wanting to return. Who wants to play for a team that doesn't want him? Who wants to beg for a contract extension? Jerry said in the offseason several times, he said different things. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He goes with the wind. But Jerry said many times, we're going to focus on now. We're not going to focus on the future. We'll worry about that later. Making it very clear that he was not wanting to give Dak an extension, McCarthy an extension. He didn't want to go there. He wanted to take it 1 year at a time. What message does that send to you if you're Dak Prescott? I don't believe in you necessarily. Dak's taking heat all the time in Dallas. Maybe he says, I don't care what the offer is anymore. Banking on myself going to the Raiders next year. Banking on myself going to another situation next year. Going to the Saints to throw to Olave. Going to, you name it. You name it. Going to the Giants to throw to Neighbors. Maybe Dable doesn't get fired. And you've got a Neighbors and Dak connection that's going to the moon. Absolutely to the moon. So it's tough to say. Jerry is an absolute mess. And I don't take anything he says seriously. I don't lock in anything that he said. If he said if he said today he doesn't want to sign anybody right now at all, he's going to wait till next year, I wouldn't even take that seriously. It'd definitely be negative news. It'd definitely drop the percentage. We don't want to hear that, especially dynasty owners of Lamb. But like he could change his mind again. He's an absolute wreck. I don't think he knows where he is. I think he's an absolute train wreck. Yes. Does this move Brandon Cooks further up the food chain? I don't think so, bro. We're kind of a Ferguson community here as the second pass catcher. But I mean, they've got some rookies. There's definitely some ability for a second pass catcher to develop. Tolbert's there. You never know. But Cooks is decent. I don't know that it moves him up. I think if anything, it's just he's older. He's had a long history of concussions. He hasn't had one for a while, so I don't even know if you could even say he could have another concussion more so than the average Bear. We don't know. We don't know. What do you think of Donovan Wicks? Traded fourth rounder for him. I like that. I don't mind that at all. I like Wicks a lot. I just don't like him where everybody's putting him. People are putting him on a wide receiver 3 podium, and I just don't know if we're going to get that kind of, like, if someone gets hurt, if Christian Watson gets hurt, then yeah, and that's why you draft him where you are or trade for him where you traded for him. That's fantastic. I wouldn't even mind giving up a second rounder for Wicks. I think Wicks is better than Dobbs. I think Wicks is the number 3. I think Christian Watson and Jaden Reed are by far the number 1 and 2. Watson's by far the number 1 when he's on the field. That's backed up by the stats and data from last year. But can he stay healthy? Did they fix his hamstring issues? I believe they did. But, maybe his hamstrings are kind of jacked up from the entire experience. And even if they fix the symmetry of his 2 legs side by side and they're equal size, they were 30% different, which was causing injuries. Maybe his hamstrings are damaged beyond the point of where he's going to be healthy. We don't know. But if Christian Watson can't stay healthy, then Wicks is going into the number 2 role. Jaden Reed's the number 1 if that happens. And Jaden Reed is like the Nico Dell is like maybe a little bit of a watered down version. A little bit. It's still very good. I don't want to say watered down like it's some much lesser duo, But Tank Dell and Nico is similar to Watson and Jaden Reed. And Jordan Love is on the rise. This is a very, very similar situation to the point where Watson and Reed maybe make them 2A and 2A. There's no 1A or 1B. And Jordan Love spoke to this and said, we don't have a number one, which we think he more so was trying to compliment all the wide receivers and did it in a different way than Stroud did. Stroud said we got 5 number ones. Stroud's a little off on his math. He does not have 5 number ones. You could argue he has 3 number ones, but not 5. I think Jordan Love meant to say something very similar, just worded it poorly. He instead said that he has no number one wide receiver, and he said a couple other comments that even back that up, though. Like, you don't need one, like, etc. But I do believe that Nico and Dell is very similar to Tank Dell. Nico and Dell is very similar to Jaden Reed and Christian Watson, just a small step down. Let's see here. Traded my 2.12 for Wicks. I don't mind that at all. Tolbert is trash, says Derek Lincoln. Yeah, I like the rookie over Tolbert. I was merely just spitting out the names that we're looking at. Wicks stacked with Watson. It's a good cup. It's kind of like Ricky Pearsall and Debo, or Ricky Pearsall and Ayuk. I think Wicks with Watson or Wicks with Jaden Reed. He's a very, very solid, like, crafty wide receiver side cup. Like, no doubt about it. Thank you. Are you leaving or anything? Are you leaving anytime soon? Okay. I'll leave this here for you. Thank you. No, I think I'm okay. Thank you. Okay. I think he means multiple number one options. We think that's what he meant, but Love definitely worded it poorly. Stroud overemphasized it, saying he has 5 number ones. This is like, bro, you could argue 3 number ones, but you can't even argue that you've got like another wide receiver too, outside of those 3 guys. Like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I traded Caleb Williams and Ricky Pearsall for MHJ and Penix Jr. in the Superflex League. Yeah, Caleb and Ricky that's a smash. MHJ alone, I would take that. And you got Penix Jr. You crushed that guy, bro. That trade is absolutely phenomenal. Reed also runs the ball like Debo from time to time. Exactly. That's why it's such a nice comparison. Jaden Reed's the Debo, Watson's the Ayuk in a way. It very much has some similar aspects to it. Love the Packers' young wide receiver core. Agreed, Matt. I appreciate you being here. Jerry is sleepy, Joe, right off into the sunset. I don't know what Jerry's thinking, man. I mean, I don't think he is. I guess that's the point, but it's crazy, bro. Dak to New York, laughing emoji. Why is that funny? Why is that funny? What makes you think Dak wouldn't consider playing with Dable, who is a quarterback whisperer, who obviously doesn't sign the right quarterback? Doing what he did with Danny Dimes is atrocious, but this is the guy that sculpted Josh Allen, Brian Dable. Dable with Dak, with Neighbors, with Hyatt, with the potential, I don't know. Imagine if this team traded for, like, Michael Mayer. What if the New York Giants traded for Michael Mayer, signed Dak Prescott, had Neighbors and Hyatt? This is a very good team for the future. Bring in a rookie running back or sign a veteran and bring a veteran in. I don't know what you're laughing at, New York for the future, or laughing at that he would want to go there, or I don't know what that's referring to. Reed, love Jaden Reed right now. So kind of a tough. I don't know. Let me see if I can open the phone line. I don't know if the phone line will freeze up the channel. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't want to freeze up the stream. We're almost out of here anyway. My 3-hour wait in this cafe is going kind of quick because I've been busy doing work, and this live stream is going to move the time along like it always does. Hit that like button. Appreciate you. Dak, Neighbors, and Dabo would be crazy fire, says Aldi. Yeah, I don't know what Runner was laughing at. I don't know if he's just a giant hater or what, laughing at New York, but You're laughing at New York. If they had Dak, Neighbors, and they trade or draft well, it's not much to laugh at, bro. Dak and Neighbors would be what you're seeing with Ceedee Lamb and Dak. Dak's a top 4 quarterback in fantasy sometimes, bro. And Lamb's the number 1 overall pick right now. So I don't know what's funny about that. Where you at? I'm in a cafe here at Circa. I had breakfast and I'm just awaiting my shuttle to the airport, and then I'll be back soon. We'll probably go live at some point tonight. I imagine. If I don't, you're getting the stream now, but I could see myself. I could definitely see myself going live later. Yeah, Theo definitely got him in that trade. That trade was unbelievable, unbelievable. Packers looking good. So, as for this conversation here, Ceedee Lamb, 100 people in the building hit that thumb up button. Only 48 of you have hit the thumb up button. Got a fly. Hit that thumb up button. Only 48 of you have. Um, to summarize this, we expected this to happen. This has been going in this direction, but we are. Thank you, Wild Bill. We are seeing more and more. Lamb's gonna hold out. Lamb's not messing around. Lamb's not trying to pretend he's not gonna hold out. He's gonna hold out. Like how long, I don't know, but Lamb wants his money, and he wants it now. And Lamb can afford to hold out and accrue fines and say, "You're gonna up my contract every dollar that I've missed," and that's just the way it's gonna be, or I'm not signing. Lamb's gonna get the world. Dallas cannot let Lamb enter the season without an extension. He will cost far too much later on. This needs to be done now. He needs to get JJ money. He'll probably get JJ money or a little bit more than JJ money. And you can say, "Oh, that's crazy. JJ's better." You also got to look at the fact that kind of like Ayuk is not used enough to warrant getting the money that he wants. He wants top 5 wide receiver money. The Niners don't give him enough production to warrant that. JJ getting the money JJ's getting when you don't even know if you can feed him the ball enough like you used to. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve top 5 money. I'm just saying to suggest that he doesn't deserve money right below Lamb. Lamb's going to be utilized more than JJ. That's why he's going number 1, number 2, number 3 overall. JJ's going 6 or 7. So if anybody thinks that Lamb shouldn't get as much or more than JJ, you're out of your mind, because he's going to get used more than JJ right now from a touchdown perspective plus yardage perspective. And then Jamar Chase will probably get a little bit more than CeeDee Lamb. And JJ will be number 3 in the pecking order. So, like, pay Lamb. Pay Lamb. What are you doing? And you need to pay Lamb, you need to pay Dak. To pay Lamb, you need to extend Dak. You're paying Dak $55 million, 2024 money. You want to free up some money? Extend Dak. You got to bring Dak back anyway. Does anybody really want Dak not in Dallas? I don't. I don't want him gone. I know it sounds fun, and we did this with Cousins. This would be interesting if Cousins went somewhere else. Look at the vacancy. We thought, okay, Penix Jr. would go to Minnesota. Hopefully not JJM again. Sorry, Signowski. But once it happened, it was like a grass is greener on the other side kind of moment, I think, in fantasy, because we're like, good God, now the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football was officially gifted JJ McCarthy. And whether I'm wrong or not about him, he's not producing the volume we need him to produce to get JJ back into the top 1, 2, 3 overall wide receiver value. We're just not. So I want Dak to stay. Derek wants Dak to stay. I think we all want Dak to stay, because if he doesn't, Lamb is in jeopardy. We don't need JJ and Lamb in flux in terms of their ability to produce. They would have to pay Parsons too in the future. That would probably be a next year thing, not this year. Lamb deserves that kind of money. Absolutely does. Mr. TD hates the holdouts. System needs to change. Travis in the building. Appreciate you, Travis. Anyway, Dak is the key here. And we're talking about Lamb, but Dak is the stepping stone for Lamb to get his deal. So it's almost like we're talking about fixing a bridge in Ceedee Lamb's deal before the bridge has even been built. And the bridge being built is you get Dak Prescott extended so you have money to extend Lamb. You could extend Lamb. I'm not saying that you can't move money around. It's the cap. The cap is fake to some degree, to a degree. So it's definitely possible. But this is a much easier. Uh, uh, you can deploy this a much easier in a much easier fashion by extending Dak, freeing up money, getting Lamb inked, etc. Not to mention, if you sign CeeDee Lamb, he's going to want Dak Prescott. He's going to want to know his quarterback situation is locked up to a degree. And so it makes this negotiation harder. Hey, CeeDee Lamb, here's what we're offering you. Well, who's throwing me the ball? Because I'm still reliant on that. I still get my endorsements. I still need to deliver. I still need to be the best wide receiver in the league to accomplish all the things I need to accomplish. I can't just say, give me the money, and then I don't care who's throwing to me. It's in the discussion. It's in the conversation. I know I would want to know who's throwing me the ball. I know I'm not going to just sign without having some assurances, which, they can't necessarily legally make to him, but I'd be like, get Dak signed and then sign me. What are we doing here? We have a combo in Dak to Lamb that's near untouchable in the NFL. There are very few combos and duos that have this level of value on both sides. Yeah, you could say Burrow and Chase is better than CeeDee Lamb and Dak because we believe Burrow is a better quarterback. But then again, it's like Burrow hasn't been staying healthy. I love Burrow, but he hasn't been staying healthy, and Dak continues to produce. And everyone keeps doubting Dak. Everyone keeps throwing shade on Dak. And Dak is not Dak is not deserving of that shade. I don't care if he loses playoff games. It's not his fault. Lamar's losing playoff games. What do the Ravens do? Go get Derrick Henry. What did the Cowboys what should the Cowboys have done? Go get Derrick Henry. What should the Cowboys have done? Get Barkley or Jacobs. What didn't they do? They didn't do any of those things. They didn't support Dak in any way to have Dak be able to walk into the playoffs and not have to carry the whole team on his back. And Lamb doesn't count because Lamb is an extension of Dak. If Dak gets shut down, Lamb gets shut down. He needs a Henry. He needs a Barkley. He at least needed a Braylon Allen. But what did Jerry do? Provided him nothing. That's why I've been giving F grades to the Dallas Cowboys the entire offseason, despite what that earlier commenter who just was running his mouth. He didn't know what he was talking about. He clearly doesn't even watch the channel. He says he has, or he know that. I've been giving Dallas a D grade, F grade the entire offseason. They completely crapped the bed. Probably more so, way more, probably, yeah, more so than the Niners, which I've said. Saints or Seattle, in my opinion. Dak to the Saints, Seahawks, or Giants. Seahawks would be really interesting just because there are two really good wide receivers there. Lockett, whatever. But, good God, this could be an amazing thing. Trey Lance QB1 in Dallas says, but look, I'm hopeful Lance gets a shot at some point. Shanahan ruined him, though. If we never see Lance start a game, it's Shanahan's fault, not Lance's. Lance didn't bust. Lance got hurt and then never was given a shot. And he got hurt because of Shanahan. Shanahan ran him up the gut like he was Derrick Henry. Dak, DK, JSN, K9. It would be phenomenal in fantasy football. That's no doubt about that. That would be unbelievable. Thomas mentioned Seahawks first, if you give me credit. Yeah, we talked about Seahawks. We talked about the Raiders. We talked about there's a lot of landing spots that would make a lot of sense, to be honest. This is not a 2 or 3 team thing. We'll pull up all the teams here and we'll just say, we'll just go through them. I'll say, I probably would say my number one landing spot for Dak Prescott next year. Like let's say Russell Wilson and Fields fail in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's going to be in the conversation. Um, I guess we'd say, depending on what happens with Tua. Yeah, can you imagine taking Tua out and putting Dak in? I like it. I like it better. I like it better, but arguable. Raiders. I mean, look, Bowers. They bring in another wide receiver. You got Bowers. That's a phenomenal landing spot. Seattle, LV, New Orleans. Again, depending on what the Dolphins do, they probably extend Tua. Dallas is obviously number one. That's where we want him, but we're not going to include him in this conversation. Um, Look, what if Stafford retired? Anybody even mention the Rams? What if Stafford retired and the Rams brought in Dak Prescott? That would be unbelievable. What if Aaron Rodgers got hurt? Knock on wood. The Jets could bring in Dak Prescott. I mean, there's a lot of options we haven't even explored. Dag Nabbit says Dak to the Vikings. No, bro, they're going to give McCarthy more than a year. He'll barely get in there this year. Dak staying in Dallas. I'm 60% on this train right here. Because Jerry's such a wild card, we don't know if that's going to, just because we believe it should happen, just because it makes sense, that would mean Jerry's going to do it. We have no idea what Jerry's going to do, but I am leaning toward that direction. The only reason why it's going to go away from 60% soon, though, is Dak won't want to return. Dak will say, you know what? I'm just going to ball out and go where the hell I want. And he's going to get paid more waiting an offseason. You could sign now or wait an offseason and get paid more. The market's just going to go up and up and up, and Dak could get hurt. Dak could tear his ACL today, never play a game this year, and still get the bag in the offseason because quarterbacks are just absolutely different. Jets, the AFC champ, Jets are going to, if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, the Jets are going to be scary. Yeah. So don't rule out that Rams situation would be unbelievable. Unbelievable. Raiders, look, Bowers is a good weapon. You get him another weapon, that's a good one. Memberships, all right. Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate you. Celebratory message from Thomas. Dak to DK. Go Hawks. Smitty to the moon. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate you. We got more than 18 thumbs up. Realistically, just haven't refreshed. But we only have 60. We have 83. We had 120 in here a second ago. It's kind of fluctuating. Hit that thumb up button. 60 thumbs up. Let's get that to match up a little bit. Wide receivers are pure divas. I mean, I hear you. I hear you. Nobody in Dallas wants Dak. We no longer buy his jersey. Travis is right here, bud. Everybody said this about Kirk Cousins, and now look. Dak to Cleveland, they can't. They can't. It's runner. There's zero chance if this happens. They can't get rid of the Deshaun Watson contract. They're not close to getting rid of it. It's completely guaranteed. You're talking about an enormous amount of money every single offseason. There's zero chance Dak can go to Cleveland. Zero. Seattle. What else we got here? All right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta get the shuttle to the airport. Take that. I'll see you all later. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you to my mods in the building, and I'll be back in the studio soon. Dak to the Patriots. No, not gonna happen. Dag Nabbit, what are you coming up with? Where are you coming up with these? Dak to Minnesota, they just drafted a quarterback. Dak to the Patriots, they just drafted a quarterback. Dak Nabbit, come on. Come on, bro. Use the noggin. I mean, hey, you know what, Dak Nabbit? I don't want to take a lap on this, but I'll say this. The Cardinals drafted Rosen, and they drafted Kyler the very next year. So does Dak Nabbit have a small, case to be made there? Maybe a little bit, but very rarely ever going to happen. Appreciate you all, guys. Hit that like button on the way out the door. I'll see you tonight. Deuces.